In The Atlantic's latest profile on Chris Licht, the new head over at CNN, we got a little bit of an inside scoop in regard to the firing of Don Lemon. Some of the elements to this profile were petty to say the least, but a question regarding Don Lemon's opinionated nature came up quite a bit as well. So apparently Chris Licht had major issues with how opinionated Don Lemon was as a host. Even he claims that in some cases, Don Lemon didn't even need to be opinionated, but felt the need to inject his opinion anyway. He says the following: "I'm going to tell Don, the biggest mistake is commenting after every single story for the sake of commenting after every single story," Licht said. Talking to no one and everyone all at once. "Don't tell me, oh, that's horrible. We know that it's horrible. If you've got a specific insight into something, if you can add something, tell us, but don't comment on every single effing story."
I totally disagree. You want to do an interesting morning show, and your idea for an interesting morning show is make sure you don't have opinions, make sure you don't do commentary. So you think 3 robots reading a prompter, a script that a producer wrote. Yeah, I grant you that in the 1980s and 90s, as Licht and Zucker and all these guys were coming up, that was considered interesting. And I swear to God, I read many articles about how Katie Couric was such an excellent news anchor in the Today Show because of her winning smile. Like they would say that as if it makes sense, right? So we're not in those days anymore. The internet exists. You have to actually be interesting in order to get an audience. And saying, I just be the robot, that is not gonna cut it. So go ahead, turn them all into robots. Your ratings will only get worse, I guarantee it.
Now Licht, of course, decided to take Don Lemon out of the nighttime lineup and instead move him over to a morning show, right? And that morning show had the co-hosts Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow, and it ended up being a disaster. Now, why did Chris Licht make that decision? Licht created this new show in hopes of injecting some flavor into CNN's lineup. He thought partnering Lemon, the opinionated gay black Southerner, with a pair of hard-hitting female news reporters could be the fun viewers needed, but Licht, I sensed, was not having fun.
But if you don't let him make any comments, how's it gonna be fun? How is pairing up 3 news actors and making them read robotic scripts going to be fun?
Okay, so in the control room, as they were doing rehearsals for this morning show, here's what was going on. Here's what Licht was engaging in. Licht, okay, the show started back up with the cameras centered on Lemon. He had changed into a white jacket, the collar made of fur, with a turtleneck underneath. "What the F is he wearing?" Licht blurted out. Nervous chuckles echoed around us. A little while later, a younger producer spoke into Lemon's earpiece. "Don, we're not too crazy about the jacket in here." Lemon looked miffed. Licht fought back a smirk. "Why are you guys so mean to Don?" he asked. God, look, that's not the most important excerpt from the piece. But man, working in that environment would make me miserable, to say the least.
Yeah, so first of all, they got a nonstop soap opera over there, okay? So that's what's happening behind the scenes as the world turns. Okay, secondly, let him wear the jacket. It might actually attract some attention. You guys are in the attention business, okay?
Yeah.
Making things insipid, I don't understand their logic at all. I don't know, everybody lives in their own bubble, and in their alternate reality, dispassionate, super boring, robotic anchors just reading scripts and never commenting and wearing super boring clothes is exciting and fun.
Right, that's such a good point.
And they say it with a straight face.
Yep.
And everyone like agrees, like, oh, they're like, oh, Chris Licht screwed up by putting Don Lemon on. He might wear an interesting jacket. Like they think that's the mistake.
Okay. So let's get back to the serious stuff. So earlier in the piece, Licht was quoted as saying that part of the problem with CNN during the Trump administration was that everything was at an 11. Everything was an emergency. Everything was worth panicking about. Anything that Trump did or said was worth panicking about, and that they needed to tone that down. That's what Licht's thinking is, right? Now, Don Lemon disagrees with that entirely. He was interviewed by this Atlantic reporter as well. And this is what he was quoted as saying: "Some people may want to qualify it as outrage porn, but there was a lot to be outraged for these last few years. There was a tweet or a statement or an action or something that was outrageous a few times a day for 5-6 years," he said. What we were doing is we were fighting for democracy. We were fighting to set the record straight on us being attacked and called fake. That may have put us back on our heels and made us a bit more aggressive with calling it out, but it doesn't mean that it was outrage porn. Poppy Harlow actually disagreed with that a little bit. And The Atlantic notes that it's perhaps due to her straight news background, but Lemon wasn't having any of it. He said a lot of people are Monday morning quarterbacking about what happened. You have to remember the time that we were in. Every single day we were being attacked by the former administration, and that's not hyperbole. We had bombs sent to us or to this very network. I think that was the strongest point that Don Lemon made, because there was so much chaos that it's easy to forget those things. I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys, right? And that was terrifying. A guy literally sent bombs to all of these Trump opponents, including CNN.
Yeah, so look, I'll give you a sense of outrage porn versus reality, right? So I remember Donald Trump threatened some company that was outsourcing jobs. And people were like, can you believe he's threatening a company like that? I was like, yeah, I can. That's actually one of the very rare things he's doing well, because I don't want the jobs outsourced, and the president is supposed to fight for American jobs. And you might disagree with how he's doing it, but that's actually an interesting thing. No, everything Trump did had to be opposed. No one could think about it, and everybody had to disagree at an 11, okay? So no, you don't have to disagree with everything. Plus, Trump is a target-rich environment. He gives you 100 insane things that you can talk about. Overall, do I agree with Don Lemon on this? Yes, I do. Most of it was real. It was 5 to 6 times a day, and it was nuts, right? Calling that outrage porn, all of it outrage porn, is outrageous, because you're saying, like when he said we should inject bleach into our lungs to cure COVID, they were not supposed to be outraged by that? They were supposed to be like, yeah, that's a legitimate possibility, and maybe we should inject Clorox. No, you should be outraged by that. Okay, so now the thing is, guys, this is all bizarro world, because on this show, we've shown you many instances throughout the long time that Don Lemon now has been on CNN, where he's kind of been the model of a milquetoast anchor.
I know, it's crazy.
But now they're painting him as like a warrior journalist, one that is way too harsh on the powerful. Don Lemon is too harsh on the powerful? Because he said, hey, that guy who wanted to bomb and murder us, maybe not a good guy. That's a bridge too far? Nah, they've all lost their minds, man. They couldn't challenge the powerful if their lives depended on it. So, and this is, as much as Chris Licht has been wrong in the different ways that we've explained throughout today and before, this is a kind of a witch hunt and a scapegoating. It's all Chris Licht. He's like, in a sense, he's the pain sponge, right? From Succession. And so they think by getting rid of Chris Licht, they're gonna solve their problems. They're not. I'll tell you right now, they're gonna make their problems worse. The next guy is gonna be Chris Licht on steroids. He's gonna want to go more centrist, meaning more Republican, more corporate, more everything, more boring, and their ratings are only gonna get worse and worse and worse. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.